5 seconds. And welcome back to the Lincoln Bowl in Tacoma with a scoreless first half between the Everett Rain and the Tacoma Trauma. Thank you for those of you who are just tuning into the game. We had a little technical difficulty in the first half, and consequently most of the action was not on live. However, the 5-tool player, Todd Elvick, has informed us that the entire game is being recorded, and we will show the game in its entirety, available for you on demand as soon as the game is over. Steve Willits along with Mike Buckholtz. And Mike, since our audience was not able to watch the first half, we're going to have you get us caught up. Talk to us about some of the numbers from the first half, and I will just point this out. Tacoma Trauma have to be very happy it's 0-0 right now. The Everett Rain, 5 possessions in the first half, 3 of which started within the 36-yard line of the Trauma. A 4th possession they took over at the 49-yard line of their own 49-yard line. So really within 51 yards of a touchdown on 4 of 5 possessions, and they have nothing to show for it right now.
It has been difficult, especially down in the red zone for Everett against that Tacoma Trauma defense. Statistically, Tacoma has been dominated by Everett. I'm going to give the stats for Tacoma first. Some running stats. Christy Hulk Egan, 3 carries for 11 yards. Selena Little Cabalsi has 2 carries for -4, and each of those players has fumbled and lost a fumble as well. Then Sierra Shortstack Lynch, the dominating mostly of the carries. She has 4 carries for 26 yards. So she's done a pretty good job there with most of the 41 total yards for the Tacoma Trauma. The quarterback.
So that was 41 total yards of offense in the first half.
41 total yards, and I had a couple gains that were good gains, but were called back. Katrina Guerrera, the quarterback, is 2 for 5, 2 completions. Both of those completions were to Sandy Rabbit Peterson for a total of just 20 yards. Now let's take a look for Everett running the football. Casey Cornist. Of course, these are unofficial stats, kind of done on the fly here by myself. Casey Cornist, 5 carries for 12 yards. Quarterback Michelle Walsh, 1 carry for 4 yards, and she was also sacked 1 time. Lindsay Felder, 4 carries for 16, and Nikki Pelham, 4 carries for a total of 8 yards. Passing, Michelle Walsh, 5 of 13 for 63 yards, but 2 interceptions. Nora Shankman has 2 catches for a total of 32. Pelham caught 1 for 11. Amelia Carr had a catch for 16 yards. And Ripley, believe it or not, Stephanie Ripley, 1 catch for 4 yards. Tight end came across. And second half is underway.
And here we go. The Rain taking the opening kickoff past midfield. That's Casey Cornist returning it all the way to the 46-yard line. So we got to keep saying it. It's worth mentioning. This is the 6th possession of the game for the Rain. And this is the 4th best field position they've started with. Again, they've started at the 20 of the Trauma, the 31 of the Trauma, the 36 of the Trauma, also the 49 of the Rain, and this time the 46 of the Trauma. And yet there is a 0 up on the scoreboard right now. We'll see if the Rain can make the appropriate adjustments at halftime. And Mike, this is probably one of the more challenging moments I've ever had to broadcast here. We are up here. The sun is just glaring off of the window, and the window at that is dirty from the wind that's blown lately. I'm almost blindly broadcasting right now as we're trying to see as best as we can. That is Walsh at quarterback once again. Hands off to Pelham. Pelham going off of the between left guard and left tackle, gets forward for a gain of 2. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 8.
And most of the damage for Everett has been done over the right side. This time Pelham trying the left side and just coming up with 2 yards, but the Rain trying to mix it up a little bit.
So we'll see what they can do here on 2nd and 8. Long huddle this time. Again, if you are just joining us, 2 fumbles deep in their own territory from the Trauma gave the Reign ample opportunity early on. They were not able to convert. They did have a touchdown called back in the first quarter. Also had a receiver open in the first quarter, a pass that was just underthrown a little bit. So they've had their chances. Handoff, or pitch rather, goes out to the right, cutting it back towards the middle, but not finding much room to run. I believe that might have been number 37, Forrest Larson. And in fact, it was Larson getting, was that her first carry of the ball game, I think?
That was her first carry, and I don't think she got anything on that. Nice hit. Tacoma has been very solid on defense, and so overstacking that right side. And again, one of the things I keep looking at is that the receiver for Everett,
it's Amelia Carr, number 13.
yeah, is out here on the right side. Now this time it's the short side of the field, and she has single coverage. Haven't really looked at her yet, just one catch.
See what Walsh decides to do here. Fakes the handoff, rolls out in Carr's direction, throws that into the flat. Cooper catches it at the 40 and gets ahead to the 35. Sarah Cooper with what I believe is her first catch of the afternoon. Gain of 9 on the play, but more importantly, moves the chains as once again the Reign are threatening here with 12.5 minutes to go in the third quarter and no score.
And Carr was, in fact, covered up on that. And nice read down, check down to Cooper coming across the field there.
4th play of the drive. Number 11, Michelle Walsh, in her 4th year with the team. Shotgun formation. 2 receivers split out to the left, and we're going to get a penalty flag thrown. Didn't see any movement. Perhaps we have a delay of game penalty coming up. And
well,
no, they're going to say illegal motion.
Yeah, I did not see. See, the back judge will put his hand up when there is 5 seconds to go on that clock. I did not see the hand go up. So, but that's a costly penalty right there.
So that'll be a 1st and 15. Tammy Johnson, number 30, was lined up at the fullback position that time. Might be one of, if not the first time we've seen Johnson in at the fullback. Early on in the game, we saw Pelham line up there on a few different occasions, and we've also seen Casey Cornist. So it appears as though Johnson's staying in there. She will line up just off of the left shoulder of Walsh. 2 receivers split out to each side. Snap goes back to Walsh, looking to the right, throws it out into the flat. Ball is almost caught. Cooper bobbling that one momentarily. At one point, Kalina First Rider, who was the corner on the play, turned her back on it as they were both trying to find out where the ball went. The ball was starting to trickle down First Rider's back, and it looked as though Cooper might even just take it right off of there. Fortunately for the Trauma, Cooper wasn't able to find it either. It falls to the turf. 2nd and 15 coming up.
Yeah, it looked like it rolled over her helmet out there. She was well covered on the play, though. Tacoma again coming up with a big defensive play.
We mentioned it in the first half. They have really been a bend but don't break team so far. They've given up plays here and there, but they have not given up points. Walsh had that ball hit the turf momentarily, picks it up, rolls out to the right, being pressured. Finally just has to throw it away. Number 22, who's Shirley Blassman, coming up with the pressure on the play. Blassman, who is also the kicker for the Trauma and was a late entry to their roster, doing a nice job of applying pressure and forcing Walsh just to get rid of that one. It's going to bring up 3rd and 15.
Well, maybe that's why I couldn't find her name, but I'll tell you what, Walsh did a great job of just throwing that ball away and avoiding the sack. A lot of pressure by the Blassman on that. So very alert play, I thought, that time by Walsh.
Yeah, did a nice job of buying herself some time, rolled out, was very patient, even tried to push off on Blassman as she tried to buy that extra split second, but wasn't able to come up with anything. 3rd and 15. Ball is thrown deep, playing center field and coming up with a pick. The 3rd interception of the game for the Trauma. And this time, it appears as though, well, it's Forrester again. Number 41, she had an interception at the end of the first half. She comes up with her 2nd interception of the night with 11:13 to go in the third quarter.
And that is the 3rd interception for Tacoma. And each time what has happened is Forrester, as a safety, has cheated over to the right, which is one of the things I've been talking about, where they're leaving Carr one-on-one over here on the right, and the safety cheats over and comes up with her second of the 3 interceptions. So, again, well played by the Tacoma defense.
Yeah, that time, even in particular, the last interception she had was more of a ricochet. This time, just good old-fashioned, seeing the ball was coming in her direction, planted herself into a spot where only she could make the catch. She comes away with it. Nice job of getting to the football there by a slew of Reign members, one of which was number 73. That's Janelle Aaliyah coming up with the tackle. It looked as though that might have been Shania Holland also in on the play, getting those ladies some name recognition there along the front line, as they've done a nice job all night.
And I think it's either Sherry or Cherie Curdy who had the initial contact, but the runner fought through that. I didn't see who the ball carrier was on that play, but it was a loss of 2.
It might have even been short stack. We get a little motion. They're not going to call it, though. That wheel route once again out to the left and doing a nice job of completing it. And that particular time we're going to get Pedersen once again, Rabbit Pedersen making the catch. A play that is not easy to complete, and quite frankly, it's kind of a high-risk, low-reward. Even when you make the completion, you don't get a lot out of it. And this particular play picks up about 10, and keep in mind they lost yardage on the play right before that, so they're still looking at a 3rd and 2 situation coming up here. But nonetheless, it is a completion.
And Pedersen has caught all 3 of the passes for Tacoma.
Did a nice job of faking that one to Pedersen, as I think that might have been short stack once again up the middle. In fact, was short stack getting the carry.
And
Sierra Lynch is her real name.
Gain of 4.
Officially, we've got the trauma down. I believe that is their 3rd first down of the evening so far.
They have yet to be in Everett territory, I believe.
They're going to do a sweep play right here, and not going really anywhere. That was number 21, Hulk Egan, getting over to the 41. They actually did get over there the one time in the second quarter on the long pass play that they were able to convert. But other than that, you're right. They haven't really threatened too much. I think they got about to the 40 or the 39-yard line of Everett and ended up having to punt that one away. But really, the trauma not putting up too much of a threat in terms of scoring opportunities thus far tonight, other than that one particular drive. So we'll see if they can get something going here with 9:02 to go in the 3rd quarter.
That was their first play that they ran earlier in the game, and they fumbled on it immediately. So that time coming back the other way, that was really sussed out by the Everett defense. Good job there, Casey Cornist.
That time it was Pedersen getting the sweep and didn't find really much room at all there. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 9, as you can hear a dog barking down below us here. Apparently it is a dog-friendly park here tonight at the Lincoln Bowl.
Yeah, I saw a couple of dogs in there. So
turf field, so we better keep them away from there. If they need to make a trip over to the hill, they're welcome to do so with a lot of grass here. But, hey, a family environment. Why not? Bring the kids, bring the dogs, and watch a little football here on an April evening in Tacoma. Ball was actually thrown backwards, and making the catch and finally being brought down at the 44-yard line. That's number 21, Egan, one more time. And interesting play there. We've seen the wheel route, but this particular time they don't even wait until Egan gets out into the flat. They throw it into the backfield and does a nice job to get down the field. And we've now got a 4th and 4 coming up. They've got to get to the 49, and it looks as though Blastman is on to punt it away once again.
Yeah, a little bit of that jet sweep look with that. They faked the sweep and then hit her with the pass. Pass was on target, but again, Everett defense doing a good job.
So rather than take a chance, they're going to let Blastman kick it away, and this is maybe her best kick of the night. 2 different players trying to field the one. Shankman finally comes away with it at the 30 and is brought down at the 35 after a gain of 5. So with 7:16 to go in the 3rd quarter, scoreless game. keep it right here as the Everett Rain bring their offense back onto the field one more time.
Now, it's my understanding that we were not recorded in the first half. Is that correct?
We were not on live in the first half. We were being recorded, so that game, the first half of action will go up later on, and we will, in fact, our viewers will be able to go back and watch the exciting action that took place. All 0 points scored, and you should maybe you should do your shout out one more time if you got family watching.
Oh yeah, my mother who lives in Spanaway has told me she was going to watch the game, and my sister Kim is with her along with her husband Pat Day, and I was mentioning that he's a Lincoln Abe, and we always talk a little smack back and forth to each other because I was a Federal Way Eagle, and they are supposed to be watching here. We're down in the Lincoln Bowl in Tacoma.
Not a bad place to be on a Friday night in April watching football. You're not used to hearing that in the spring. Carry off of the left tackle. That is number 37, Forrest Larson, lunging forward for a gain of, we'll call it maybe 4 yards on the play. Keeping that clock running with 6:20 to go here in the third quarter.
Larson, with no carries in the first half, now has 10 yards on 2 carries.
Not a bad way to start the second half here. We'll see if maybe the change of pace, if you will, or mixing it up a little bit for the Rain can reap a few more rewards than what we saw in the first half.
Staying with that I formation with the fullback in front and Walsh under center.
That might be Lindsey Rogers playing fullback there too and taking the carry, first carry of the night. Double check that here real quick. In fact, that was Lindsey Rogers, second-year player. Bringing a little more size out onto the field, and I thought maybe she'd be the lead block there, but she's going to end up taking the carry and might have gotten forward for, well, I guess they're going to spot her now back at the 39-yard line, so we'll call it a no gain on the play.
And now we've got the clock actually working over there with 3rd and 6 calling at 39. All right.
I have noticed, though, I didn't say it on the air, but I have noticed as I've been watching that the down and yardage markers over there on the clock, it's not always right. So I've been keeping one eye on that and one eye on the field where the actual chain gain is. And a carry off the right side. First down and more down the sideline is Cornist to the 30. Pushes one would-be tackler to the ground and finally runs out of room at the 26-yard line. Biggest gain of the night, a 35-yard pickup on the play. Casey Cornist putting the Rain in business here with 4:56 to go in the third quarter.
And again, attacking that right side where they had most of their success. But you know what we got down? A little laundry.
We've got laundry again, and this seems to be the Achilles tendon of the Rain tonight. Every time they've come up with a big play, there's a yellow flag somewhere on the field. This one along the right sideline, right where the big opening occurred. So perhaps it wasn't accidental that there was so much space there. It might have been a little bit of extra help, if you will, extracurricular activity on the Rain, and they're in fact going to call a holding penalty. So wipe out the 35-yard carry and wipe out the Rain getting across midfield for this particular drive just yet. We're going to replay third down.
And a play we could actually see because right now I'm sitting in the highway of the sun, and as it got closer to us, we could actually see the play.
Yeah, when they get further down to the right, we can look away from the sun. Right now we are glaring right into it. 3rd and 3 coming up. Ball's thrown over the middle. Carr catches the ball, spins down past the 40-yard line, still on her feet, and finally brought down at the 35. We're going to call that a gain of 26 on the play.
And that is a play that I have been talking about, trying to get the ball to Carr, as she has been one-on-one with her defender. Her defender's been doing a good job of bumping her at the line, but there's no safety help. And that time she got free and made Tacoma pay. Nice pass by Michelle Walsh. She put it right on the money there.
Walsh doing a nice job tonight on some of these passes. We've seen her, again, I know the stat line is going to show her with 3 interceptions, but we've certainly seen her do a nice job on throwing those screen passes and a few of the balls into the seam area and even a couple slants for that matter.
Up to 89 yards now unofficially from Michelle Walsh.
36-yard line. Fake the handoff to the left side, which is where Cornist ended up going, and ended up running it to the right as Pelham picks up a yard on the play.
Pelham with 2 carries here in the second half, just 3 yards, a total of 6 carries for 11 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 9.
So we'll see what the Reign can draw up here. We've got the Trauma dance group right in front of us right now performing. Group of, it looks as though it's 10 young ladies, all kind of under the age of 16 or so, doing a nice job of entertaining the crowd right in front of them. As you mentioned earlier, Mike, during the first half, nice turnout here in Tacoma. A lot of the Trauma fans coming out to support their squad here this evening. 2nd and 9, Walsh takes the shotgun formation, and that ball was almost intercepted. Intending that one for Larson over the middle, and had her open, just happened to overthrow her, and that was almost interception number 4 on the night.
And back there playing safety, number 41, Tara Forrester, almost had her 3rd pick of the night. Just kind of playing center field back there.
Yeah, Forrester's eyes, I think, got a little big there as she was thinking she was going to get the trifecta there. Might get another chance here. It's 3rd and 9. They need to get to around the 26-yard line for a first down. Trip formation out to the right side. Walsh in the shotgun. Takes the snap, hands off to Pelham. Pelham trying to elude tacklers. Spun out of one would-be defender and then was able to get forward for a gain of about, well, we'll call it 3 yards on the play. It's going to leave them well short of the first down. And once again, the Reign keeping the offense on the field for 4th down. Hasn't been the ideal situation for them thus far tonight. I think 0 for 4 now on 4th down situations as they look to convert now.
And it's been a tough go trying to run over the left side against Tacoma. In fact, I think that's their longest running game of just 3 yards. And so to a degree, gaining in yardage for Everett, it's just been on this one half of the field.
4th and 6, they need to get to the 26-yard line. Carr was the intended receiver. They overthrow her, and the Trauma will take over on downs with 1:55 to go here in the 3rd quarter. The Everett Reign and Billy Russo and company, they've got to be frustrated. So many opportunities, so many chances to put points on the board, and right now it is double zeros up there as we come into the end of the 3rd quarter here, and the Reign have got to be feeling like this game should have already been well over at this point, and instead it's tied.
Yeah, perhaps, but now it's an opportunity for the Reign defense to make a play, as Tacoma has also been frustrated here at the Lincoln Bowl, and maybe the Everett Reign can step up and make a defensive play here.
Spread formation, 2 receivers on each side. Peterson goes in motion. They give her the handoff. She sweeps it out to the right. Nice job by Carr. Open field tackle, says, no, you are not going any further. Tackled at the line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
Well, it looks like they gave her 1 yard on the play, but, man, Carr lowered the boom.
She closed up very quickly. Carr, who's playing the left corner over there, read that play from the get-go, stepped right up to the line of scrimmage, essentially just kind of waiting in that open area for Peterson, and once Rabbit came sweeping out to her side, took her down to the turf, no gain, as we're now down under a minute to go, 3rd quarter. Handoff, and it looks as though this might be short stack. Spinning off of one tackler, falling forward, doing a nice job of moving the chains. Looked as though she was going to be 2 or 3 yards short of the first down, and in fact that was Sierra Lynch, number 13, a.k.a. short stack, getting the carry. And once again, Trauma able to move the chains here, and they'll look at a first down from their own 43-yard line with 47 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Everett players trying to hit her high, and she's not very tall, able to
That's not a good idea, is it?
She kept the legs churning there. She did a good job. Low snap.
It looks as though Lynch is going to get this carry too, and this time stepping in to close the gap up. That's Shania Holland making the tackle, and it looked as though it might have been Shankman that stepped in there to give a little hand there as well. Perhaps it was even Cornist, but nonetheless, Lynch hitting that hole rather quickly, showing a nice burst of acceleration, picking up another 4 yards on the play as the clock now showing 12 seconds and counting. So this play may or may not happen this quarter. We'll see now. 5 seconds to go. Shotgun formation.
Well, they're not going to get this off, and that's going to bring us an end to the quarter here. Still scoreless.
Scoreless through 3 quarters. We're going to take a break right now. You do not want to go anywhere. Let's see who can maybe put some points on the board here in the 4th. You are watching STSPN.com. Welcome back to the Lincoln Bowl. Steve Willits along with Mike Buckholz. Todd Elvick, the 5-tool player, running the camera and all the equipment tonight for STSPN.com. We head to the 4th quarter of play. 0-0 between the Tacoma Trauma and the Seattle Reign. That was a 2nd and 7 play for the Trauma. Handoff sniffed out rather quickly by the Reign, and looks like they might have picked up a yard on the play. However, laundry on the turf, Mike.
I'm not sure what that was. It looked like the player was tackled around the neck, so I don't know if that's going to come into play on that. Picking up the stats, Tacoma 41 total yards in the first half, 42 in the 3rd quarter. So more or less matching, and we're going to mark this off. And it looks like 15 yards with the personal foul and the horse collar on the tackle.
I was just about to say that they're going to need more than 42 yards for this quarter to score a touchdown if they're beyond the 50, but as soon as I think that, after you gave us that stat, that 15-yarder came into effect, and now they are at the 37-yard line of Everett, and really only the 2nd time tonight that the Trauma have even relatively threatened to put points on the board. They had one drive in the 2nd quarter that ended rather quickly. They were able to get inside the 40 and then had to end up punting the ball away. We'll see what they can do here. Short stack with another burst up the middle, and she's still going. Finally brought down inside the 25-yard line. Call it the 23, a gain of 14, and another Trauma first down.
41 yards put up by Everett in that quarter as well, so the stats relatively even, but Everett throwing that interception, of course. And this time Tacoma holding on to the ball. They fumbled a couple of times early in the game, but right now it's clearly obvious that they are going to try to keep the ball. They're picking up yardage on the ground.
Spread offense right now. They're going to do another handoff. This time it's not happening. Number 85, Shania Holland, bursting right through there almost as though she was waiting for that one, and that's going to be a loss of 3 yards on the play. And you're right. Not only did they throw the interception in the 3rd quarter, they also had a turnover on downs inside the 30-yard line, which we can't say it enough. It's just it's almost as though we're reliving deja vu all over again every time the Reign get the ball. They get down there, they threaten to score, and one of two things tends to happen. They either throw an interception or they can't convert a 4th down. We'll see what happens here as Peterson goes in motion. They fake the handoff, pitch out to short stack, and she's finally going to be dragged out of bounds right around the 26-yard line.
Again, almost a horse collar there, as Forrest Larson had a hold of short stack, but then basically let it go as they got to the sideline. But it's 3rd and long, and here's a chance now for the Everett defense to maybe step up, as they've had a couple of completions, but for the most part, the passing attack has been relatively ineffective for Tacoma today.
Very true, and I noticed the same thing you did, Mike. I was a little concerned there for a moment that Larson was, in fact, going to get the horse collar. As you mentioned, she did let go very quickly, and really it was unnecessary at that point anyway. The Lynch was already out of bounds, so good to see that they were able to recognize that and Did not pick up the penalty. 3rd and 13. They're going to go deep towards the end zone. Spinning around as the receiver. Just turned her around momentarily, just enough to have her lose concentration as pull out the binoculars to try to read those dark blue numbers on the blue uniforms. And that was Forrester, who already has had a big night on the defensive side of things. And this time she was looking to have something happen for her in the offensive column. And Tara Forrester not able to quite come up with that ball, and it's going to bring up a 4th and 13 with 13:16 to go in the 4th quarter.
Again, another passing situation, and I was hoping maybe Everett could come up with the play there. Instead, they almost gave up the big game.
First down marker right around the 14-yard line. Guerrera looking deep, throwing down the right side, incomplete. The rain might have dodged a bullet right there. Receiver was open. Ball was just a little bit underthrown, and that could have been an easy 6 points there, as number 86 was the intended receiver on the play, Macy Wilson, and Wilson just running freely down that right sideline there. I think a couple of the Rain players thought maybe she was going to cut that route shorter. They were lined up around the 5 or 6. Wilson was standing back around the 1-yard line just waiting for that football.
Yeah, Amelia Carr split the difference there as the route went past her, and she cut it off short. I think she thought the pass was going to go inside a little bit, which it did, but it also went over the head of Carr. So pass was underthrown, and the Rain will now take over.
Take over indeed at the 27-yard line. 73 yards away from pay dirt. 12:42 to go here in the 4th quarter. Scoreless ball game so far here tonight from the Lincoln Bowl. Walsh under center. Hands that one off. Pelham getting the carry out to the right side. Cuts it back up towards the middle and is finally dragged down at around the 38 or 39-yard line. I'm going to call that a gain of 12 on the play, and the chains will move down the field as Tacoma's giving up a little bit of a run there. We've seen Seattle doing so, the old bend but don't break earlier in the quarter and the later part of the 3rd, and now it's Seattle or Everett's turn to try to get something going on them.
And again, most of the success for the rushing game for Everett has been over that right side. Nice job of blocking. Pelham with 12 yards and a good time-consuming drive to put it into the end zone would just about seal the deal, I would think, in this game.
Yeah, at this point, any score would be a big score. I formation, fake the handoff to the fullback, give it to Pelham. Pelham looking for room at the right side. Didn't find much, cuts it back a little bit towards the middle and was able to lunge forward for perhaps a 2, maybe even a 3-yard gain. Nice job by Nikki Pelham making something out of nothing on that play.
29 total yards now unofficially for Pelham. She has carried the ball 9 times. And we've got a player down, and it's Pelham.
It is indeed. A couple of her teammates trying to assist her right now at the 30 or 41-yard line, rather. Looks as though they might be taking a look at her leg or foot, and she very quickly is able to get up, which is always a good sign. Walking rather gingerly off the field, and as you mentioned, she's been a big part of what they've been trying to get going here on offense, at least in the second half. So we'll see if she's able to shake that one off and get back into the game with 11:35 to go in the 4th.
That might bring Felder back in at the running back, or
Lindsay Felder, by the way, number 12, had a few nice runs in that 1st quarter, and we haven't really seen much from her since. Perhaps a change of pace right now might be a good thing for the Rain. We'll see what happens here.
Might take a look at Carr again over there on the right side. Again, safety playing over here, moving closer to the middle of the field. Carr has one-on-one coverage, but Walsh under center.
And Cornist is the tailback right now. Walsh rolling out to the left, finally just going to dump it off. Fumbling the football at midfield and recovered by the Trauma. That's number 21, Hulk Egan, coming up with it. Number 85, Shania Holland, making the catch and just couldn't quite put it away. Holland on the initial hit coughs up the football, and the Trauma with 11:02 to go in the 4th quarter will take over at the Rain 49-yard line.
Well, 5-yard completion, but turning it over on the fumble was perhaps momentum change now, as you got to give Tacoma credit. their defense has been doing the job all day. Now it's, again, time for Everett to step up. And, boy, Everett a little bit slow getting to the defensive line here.
Yeah, Everett a little slow in Tacoma, putting the rush on them. Nice job to doing the quick huddle, if you will.
Well, the Zebras are still down there conversing, though. Tacoma was ready to snap the ball. Everett came over, and they're trying to figure out I'm not sure what they were talking about. If it were you and I'd be trying to figure out what kind of pizza we want after the game.
So. You got me thinking. Woo. We'll see if this game's going to be over in the next 11 minutes. It might be heading towards overtime. We'll see. Ball is thrown out into the flat, incomplete, over the head of Peterson. Out of her outstretched hands. It's going to hit the turf. Had the right idea, an open play there. Peterson with a chance to maybe make something happen there if she can come up with that football. Instead, it's going to be 2nd and 10.
Tacoma's been pretty much limited to running that little, whatever you want to call it, a wheel route or that little swing pass is what we used to call it.
It's different variations of it tonight,
yeah. So they've thrown it down the field a few times, but most of the time that's what they've been looking at. Now that here comes that jet sweep.
And they're, in fact, going to sweep it there, not a fake. And heading out to the left side, finding some space momentarily is number 21. That's Egan, but being thrown down violently to the turf by Casey Cornist after a gain of, well, let's see, we'll call it 5 on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 5. And for a moment there, Egan using her wheels to get out into the open field, but Casey Cornist closed that off rather quickly after that.
Egan being the workhorse after she fumbled on the very first play of the game, but she's up to, trying to look at how many carries unofficially. She's got 11 carries right now.
Another player in motion. This ball's going to bounce back to the quarterback. Carrera, recognizing that she didn't have much to do with it, has to pick it up off the turf and then gets slammed to the turf herself. Guess who? Casey Cornist. She's a little fired up right now here in the 4th quarter and showing that she has some bad intentions for that trauma offense right now, and that's going to bring up 4th and 5.
And I wonder if Casey Cornist ever says anything after one of those hits. You know, what comes to mind to me is answer the phone. Because that's that ringing in your head.
In your head, absolutely. And we talked to Billy Russo, the head coach of the Reign before the game, and he mentioned Cornist was an honorable mention All-American last year on defense. He thought she should have been an All-American outright. And this play is not going anywhere. Number 22, Sarah Cooper, coming through and coming into the backfield. A loss of yardage, but more importantly, a turnover on downs. And with 9:06 to go here in the 4th quarter, the Everett Reign will send their offense back out onto the field at their own 46-yard line.
Excellent stand by the Reign defense there. Just what the doctor ordered as now with field position, and Tacoma choosing not to punt the football. Everett has the ball out near midfield again, and they were moving the ball the last time they had it before they turned it over. So let's see what they draw up.
Absolutely. 53 yards away from the end zone right now. We're now under 9 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. No score. First game of the year for the Everett Reign. Quarterback Michelle Walsh under center, I formation. Fakes the handoff, rolls out to the right, looking for Carr down the field. She's throwing to her, and she completes it. Tiptoes along the right sideline. Goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line, a gain of 21.
And going to the short side of the field, the safety's been cheating over to the center, and that leaves Carr one-on-one, and that is the second big catch that she's made for pretty good yardage there. How much did she pick up on that?
She picked up 21 on that play as they were on their own 47-yard line to start the drive, and Reign wasting very little time to get down the field and wasting very little time in the huddle as well. Right back up to the line of scrimmage, sticking in that I formation. Shankman on the near side, Carr on the far side. The handoff up the middle. Looks as though that might be Pelham back in the ballgame. We'll get confirmation on that here momentarily.
And a good push by the center of the line for Everett that time. And I believe that is Pelham.
It, in fact, is. Nikki Pelham back in the game after being injured. And we weren't handed a lineup sheet going into this game, so we apologize for not getting very many of these lineman called out here, but we notice there's an 83 right there in front of us. That's Katrina Rooks. Try to get some more of those players before the night is over. 99, who we've called her on a fullback carry up the middle. That's Lindsey Rogers. Rogers, they're playing left tackle.
63 receiving yards for Carr now in the game.
2nd and 8. Coming up here, 7:18 remaining in the fourth quarter. Almost got a neutral infraction there, and then we're going to finally get a whistle there as Walsh tries to take the snap. Center wasn't quite ready to snap it to her, and I think this ball is going to be marched back 5 yards before we get another snap off.
Delay of game, and that is another bad break for Everett as they've had a decent, I believe that was a 4-yard gain by Pelham. So, I don't know. Did you look at the board and say 2nd and 8? Because I looked at the field, I thought it was 2nd and 6. So. And
they are showing 2nd and 11, so that might, well, where they're marking it right now, it looks like it's almost a 2nd and 12 situation. Either way, it's 2nd and long, as we're still trying to read those numbers on their backs. They're trying to get a few more of those offensive linemen called out, and we'll try to get that here shortly. As get a little bit of a tumble there from Nikki Pelham as she was coming out of the huddle there. Finally gets herself situated, lined up just off the left shoulder of Walsh, the quarterback. Walsh directing traffic there. 2 receivers split out to each side, looking over the middle, trying to buy some time. Finally tucks it away, running up the middle, past the 30, over to the 26-yard line, where she's finally brought down after a gain of 8. Nice job by Michelle Walsh to recognize she didn't have a play. Rather than take a loss in the backfield or throw it away, just puts it underneath her arm and says, let's take off running, and gets 8 yards.
And perhaps more importantly, you mentioned that she was directing traffic, had 2 players split out to the left, and both of them were on the line of scrimmage, and she had to back the inside player off because she would not be eligible as a receiver. So had that player step back to make sure that there weren't too many on the line of scrimmage.
Would have been another loss of 5, and they didn't need one of those again. 3rd and 4 coming up here right now.
Very heady play by Michelle Walsh.
6 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. No score. Snap is low, fumbled, and I'm not sure if the rain got it back or not. It looks as though Walsh might have fallen on it. In fact, that is the case, but that's going to bring up yet another 4th down, and we've seen it time and time again tonight so far. 0 for 5 on the evening are the Seattle Reign, and they're going to get yet another shot here to convert. They need to get 5 yards to keep this drive alive.
They do, and of course, again, that other option is that short punt to try to put Tacoma with their backs to their goal line.
As you mentioned before, if you kick it into the end zone, you really don't net very much, and I think in the case of being down at the 26, Russo just decides he's going to keep his offense out there and see if they can somehow get this. Trying to go with a hard count. Don't get it. Walsh rolling out. There's might be a little bit of a hold, and in fact, it is going to be called. Walsh is going to pick up the 1st down, but this one's coming back. As give a lot of credit to whoever that defensive end was for the trauma. Just came barreling through there, and it looks as though that's number 22, who is Shirley Blastman. Blastman, if she's not held on that play, might have gotten a quarterback sack. So perhaps this is a good penalty, if you will, and nonetheless, it's going to bring the Reign way back. And Mike, now we might be looking at a punt.
Yeah, we might. And again, the idea of that play call was a little play action pass and then roll Walsh to the right, which is her strong side, and see if she can pick up a pass to Carr again. But that was eliminated by the hold as the defensive end for Tacoma came in. And, you know, really not much choice for the offensive tackle there as she was beaten, and the defensive tackle had a beat on Walsh. So. And
it's a spot foul, so it comes back 18 yards. Before you were at the 26-yard line needing 4, and now you're back at the 44 needing 22. And we see 4 receivers split out, 2 to each side, and it looks as though Russo's going to keep his offense out there. 4th and 22. It could even be a quick kick. 5:02 to go, and we get another penalty flag down. This one might be on the defense, however. Carr doing a nice job of trying to dive for that football. It wouldn't have mattered as she was going to be short either way. The ball does hit the turf, but we may have had a defensive player who tried to get just a little bit too much of a beat on that snap. Might have jumped off sides. Let's see what the call is.
And it's interesting. I mean, I know it's early in the year, but sometimes you can perhaps do some things to draw the player offside. I don't know if that was the case in this situation, but now got some of that 18 yards back, clock still running. And if this game should reach overtime, apparently you've sussed out what the rules are in overtime.
It sounds like it's NCAA rules from what I was told. So we're going to go each team possessing the ball from the 25. So we'll see if we get there. It's 4:40 to go here in the fourth quarter. Russo once again deciding he doesn't want to send his punt team out there. Walsh looking over the middle. Still behind the line of scrimmage. Finally tucks it away and gets forward for a gain of 3. And we'll turn it back over to the Trauma. And, Mike, a very interesting call. I'm still a little bit surprised we haven't seen a punter in one of these situations. I know they're fairly deep in their territory, but really we've seen the Trauma on a couple of occasions now put the ball on the turf. If I'm the Reign, I might want to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to put you back on like the 15 and see if you'll cough it up for me. And instead, Trauma not getting the ball in a real bad spot here. They're at the 36-yard line.
And this is going to be a huge series right here. I think one of the keys is that the Trauma have been doing a good job of running the ball in the third quarter, and I should say the second half. So if you can get them to 3rd and long and force them to make some sort of a pass, that would hugely benefit Everett.
We'll see what happens there. Guerrera just dumping that one off to the right. Incomplete.
Ooh.
That was almost, I think you and I are maybe having the same thoughts there. Very close to being a sideways pass. If that would have been the case, that would have been a live ball, as ball was intended for short stack. Lynch drops it, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 10.
And so far here in the fourth quarter, that is the 4th incomplete pass in a row.
Katrina Guerrera
Tacoma.
Definitely looking a little better this week. She was 3 for 11 passing against Portland last week, and 2 of those were interceptions. Player goes in motion, and I think there was a little too much motion, as the referees are going to blow that one dead and push Tacoma back 5 more yards with 3:34 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, had a little bit of that Canadian football rule play going where the backs can take a step forward. And
well, part Canadian, part Arena League there, right? It's not going to fly here. However, in the WFA, it's going to be a 5-yard penalty and bring up a 2nd and 15.
I went to a couple of arena games in Everett. I really enjoyed those games. They were a lot of fun.
It's intense. You get a lot of scoring, which looking at a game like this, it's something to be said for that. And yeah, no, that's it's definitely good football when you get inside and enclose everybody into a much smaller space, nowhere to go really. And we're going to get a little dump off here out to the right. Peterson looking for space. Finally steps out around the 39-yard line. We'll give her a gain of 8 on the play, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 7 now.
And nice little deception as the quarterback, Guerrera, faked the handoff on the fly sweep, then looked to her left and spun all the way back. Found Peterson again. Peterson being the main receiver, coming up now with 38 total yards unofficially on 4 catches for Tacoma.
They're going to say 3rd and well, it is a 3rd and 7 as we look out there. They need to get just a little beyond the 46-yard line for a first down. One player in motion. They're going to finally hand off to Short Stack. Short Stack finding some open space momentarily and doing a great job of keeping her from the first down was Cornist, as that looked as though Short Stack was going to have enough steam built up to where she was easily going to float past the 46-yard line, but Cornist at the last moment stepped in there, and when she makes a tackle, it's a quick tackle.
And again, if you're just joining us, Short Stack is a nickname on the roster. The Tacoma Trauma here, a lot of the players have nicknames, and their nicknames are actually listed on the roster for us. And
Sierra Lynch is her actual name, but and she definitely is a Short Stack, and a load at that. It's 4th and 1 coming up. Big play here with 2:02 to go in the fourth quarter. Snap is low. The handoff goes to Short Stack, and she gets stacked at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Turnover on downs. Rain ball with 1:53 to go in the fourth.
And now the clock stops on the turnover, and I believe Everett has all 3 timeouts should they choose to use them.
Regina Buckmiller, a defensive tackle who is a rookie this year, was in on that play, I think, as well as a few others. We saw Janelle Aaliyah, we saw Lindsey Jordan, a few white uniforms all around that play. Not exactly sure which one made the initial contact, but nonetheless, Trauma only needed a yard, and they got nothing on that one. 1:52 to go, and the Reign are 46 yards away from potentially winning this game.
51 yards for Lynch. 51 yards on 13 carries, and nada on the last one.
Pitch goes to number 37, Forrest Larson, and Larson just stutter-stepped a little bit there. A little bit of a delay, and you add that to the fact that the Trauma did a nice job of sniffing that one out, and we're going to get a loss of yardage, and we're also going to get a Reign timeout here, and we'll keep it here with 1:38 to go. And Mike, you've had a chance to watch this Reign team for almost 4 quarters now. Time is now becoming an issue. You've got 1:38 left. We know that you've got to get probably well within the 10 to 15 yard line to even have a chance at a field goal. What are you thinking right now if you're Coach Russo and the offensive unit?
Well, a couple of things. They have somewhat hindered themselves by going to the right so often that the ball's been on the right hash mark all game. Everett's only been able to run to the right. In the last play, they just lost a couple of yards, again coming back to the left. The good news is that the ball's on the right, and you do have that receiver over
Amelia Carr, number 13, yeah.
Number 13, and Amelia Carr, she has 47, let's make it 63 yards receiving today. And they've been playing her one-on-one over on the side, so I'm looking for them to go downfield to Amelia Carr.
They've been playing her one-on-one. However, Forrester has also been playing a little center field out there occasionally when Carr's gone out. And watch for number 41 there playing in the secondary. Already 2 interceptions tonight. You know, she's going to be thinking right now that this ball might be going up in the air, and we'll see if she can do her Earl Thomas impersonation, if you will. Plays very similar to him, and the way she reads the ball down the field is we've got a I formation coming up.
And 2 safeties in the game. They've been playing single safety.
Going to get a reverse here, and that ball is dropped onto the ground, and the Trauma comes up with it at the 41-yard line. Number 86 on the play, Macy Wilson, doing everything on that one. She plugs up the play, she creates the fumble, and she recovers it. All of a sudden, we go from talking about what the Reign's options are on offense to looking realistically at what the Trauma might be able to do to win this game. 42 yards away from the end zone with 1:35 left.
And the worst part of that was that it wasn't just the fumble, it was the 13-yard loss that goes along with that. So that could give Tacoma some of the momentum here that they need. So, again, the defense is going to have to come up big.
Second fumble in this half for the Reign. Trauma with the ball. Lynch comes up the middle, and she is met very quickly by a couple of players, one of which was number 2, Casey Cornist. She laid the boom down on that play. Slowed up a little bit, however, by the rookie, Regina Buckmiller, number 91.
No gain and a timeout.
1:27 left. We'll take a quick break here, 30-second one. Do not go anywhere. We're going to have an exciting conclusion to this game. You're watching STSPN.com. To the Lincoln Bowl, 1:27 to go here in the fourth quarter. Tacoma Trauma, Seattle Reign, or I keep saying Seattle Reign, it's the Everett Reign, all knotted up 0-0. The Trauma with the football, 44 yards away from potentially winning this football game. Snap is low, handoff to Peterson, sweeping out to the right. Gets out of bounds at the 40 before she is brought down by a couple of Everett players, one of which is Nikki Pelham. The other one, we keep calling her name time and time again, is Casey Cornist, the honorable mention All-American from last year, making yet another tackle.
And Peterson, actually 3 yards that time on the carry as she was just short. So she did get out of bounds. Third and 8.
Stops the clock with 1:20 to go here, fourth quarter. Going in motion and taking the handoff is Egan. Egan finding some space. Hits the corner, out to the 30, down the sideline at the 20, spins past one tackler. She's at the 10, the 5, touchdown Trauma! 41-yard run by Christy Egan. That might be your ball game right there, the first score of the night. Egan looked like she was going to be down a few different times, broke a couple tackles, spun off of one, and goes all the way into the end zone from 41 yards out.
Tacoma doing a good job of running Lynch up the middle, and Everett having to honor that, and then they've ran a couple of jet sweeps, able to extend the defense out, maybe fatigue setting in a little bit.
Extra point attempt is missed. That's the first extra point attempt of the year for the Trauma. Last week they scored 1 touchdown and went for a 2-point conversion. This kick is blocked, so if you are the Everett Rain, not sure what kind of plays you have in the playbook that can cover perhaps 60, 70 yards in 64 seconds, but whatever you have, you might want to pull it out relatively quickly because you're down to your final minute and 4 seconds remaining here, and you now trail 6-0.
Well, not much you can do. Better get out there on special teams and make something happen here.
See what they can do right here. We did see Casey Cornist return the opening second half kickoff past midfield and even found a couple of nice open seams. She's definitely a threat. Second-year player for the Rain. Lined up right now back at the 25-yard line. I believe that is Shirley Blassman back to kick it off. Whistles are blowing here. And apparently the Rain want to take a quick timeout. I don't know if they didn't have the correct personnel in or wanted to perhaps talk about a particular play, and they do send another player onto the field, so they might have even been 1 short. Either way, not the ideal time to call a timeout when you're going to need to stop the clock here in a moment once you get the football back.
Yeah, they were 1 short, playing with 10.
We'll see if that 11th player can help them with a big return here as the Trauma are going to choose to go huddle momentarily over on their sideline. The Rain, however, figuring they got the 11 on the field, why ruin a good thing now? They're just going to stay out there in position waiting for the kickoff. And that is, in fact, number 22, Shirley Blassman, standing behind the football, about ready to kick it off here.
I'm glad you can see the numbers because I can't.
Fortunately, we knew what number to look for. We were told by the owner before the game, but was able to just barely read that 22 momentarily. That ball is kicked short to the 38-yard line, and that's Forrest Larson returning it past midfield, and she's finally dropped at the 49-yard line with 53 seconds left on the clock. They're now going to tick it down to 52, so the Rain in danger of losing their season opener here, and they've got to get something going relatively quickly as Michelle Walsh, the fourth-year quarterback, brings her offense back onto the field. An offense that has shown that they can move the ball from time to time and pick up first downs. They have done pretty much everything but score points, and they need to do something relatively quickly now.
And obviously that's going to be typically through the air. And again, you have a very dangerous receiver for Everett over on the right side. But middle of the field is open.
We'll see. You're in fact right. They are playing right up on the line on that left side, and then the safeties drop back about 15 yards. Shankman going over the middle there. Walsh skips the pass to her off the turf, incomplete, and hadn't seen North Shankman as an intended receiver in a while. And I think they heard you from up here in the booth, Mike Buckholz. They, in fact, did try to take advantage of that opening in the middle, and unfortunately they just couldn't quite convert. Looks as though Shankman is in the slot formation out to the left here.
Same formation.
Oh, ball goes through the legs of Walsh, drops back to pick it up, stays on her feet, fumbles the football. It's bouncing around on the turf. If the Trauma have fallen on it, it's pretty much game over. And they're going to say that the rain recovered it. That's the good news. Bad news is that you lose. It looks like you lost about 24 yards on the play. And with 31 seconds to go, the Rain are going to call a timeout, which, trying to just keep track up here, Mike, I think that's their final timeout.
If they had to take one on the kickoff, I believe that would be their final timeout. 31 seconds to go. You know, it's going to be a tough road to throw it over the top of the defense. And maybe they should try to dial up that trick play. What do you have to lose?
Is this where you use the M word, the miracle word, if you're a fan or a coach?
Well, I think you want the Stanford band down in the end zone if you're going to do that. So,
not seeing too many tubas down there right now. I think they might not get the assist from a band of any sort. It's gonna.
Yeah, that was a trombone player.
Was it a trombone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but his trombone got destroyed in that. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, University of California ran a lateral play on a kickoff in desperation, and the Stanford band ran onto the field before the game was over and helped contribute to that victory for California as they lateraled it, I believe, 7 times and scored.
And the trombone player, I think, to this day is recognized for that. He
got ran over and lost his trombone, and boy, Everett's going to need that right now.
Let's see if they can dial up their own miracle play here. 31 seconds to go. Walsh throwing it over the middle. Shankman with the catch at the 40-yard line. Breaks out of one tackle and is finally brought down at the 47. Clock continues to run as it's now 4th and we'll call it around 14 yards. They need to get to the 39-yard line. 14, 13, 12. Clock is running. They can't spike it. They need to run a play here. Walsh takes the snap, drops back. Looking over the middle, fires the ball to Shankman. Incomplete. Clock is at 000, and the Tacoma Trauma have picked up their first victory of the year, winning the football game 6-0, thanks to Christy Hulk Egan's 41-yard run with 64 seconds remaining in the game. And the Seattle Reign, who have really somewhat dominated, at least through the first half on the offensive side of things and had their opportunities, are going to come up with a 6-0 loss.
So, taking a look at some of the stats in the second half, the Tacoma Trauma did a good job of running the football. Christy Lynch, 15 carries for 64 yards, and number 21 for Tacoma, Christy Egan, came up with 4 carries overall for 45 yards, and 2 of those, the biggest one, that 41-yard touchdown run to give them the victory at 6-zip.
Now, Mike, if you're looking at this, and it's early in the season, this is game number 1, you come away with a loss here, but really a lot of positives to take away if you're a Reign fan also. It's not as though you were dominated in this game by any means. As you start to look ahead, and next week, by the way, the home opener for the Reign as they take on the Seattle Majestics, and then after that they go on the road for the Portland Shockwave, and we're going to have a lot of these games coming up on STSPN. As a Reign fan, I mean, you've got to think that the future doesn't look so bad necessarily. I mean, a lot of good things to take out of this game tonight.
Yeah, there were, and Michelle Walsh, I thought, a heady player as a quarterback. She was victimized by the 3 interceptions, and 2 of those to the safety who was zoning up back there, kind of playing center field, and maybe Michelle lost sight of her. But I like the way she was able to see formations and move her players around, and she knows what to do out there. She's got a couple of receivers that can catch the ball and a decent running game, but they seem to shoot themselves in the foot. They got to clean up the penalties. And
defensively, I mean, you give up the 41-yard touchdown with just a little over a minute to go, but really for 58 minutes you played outstanding defense. You gave up a few yards here and there, but like you mentioned, only 41 yards of total offense from Tacoma in the first half. They went into the fourth quarter with only 83 yards of offense. Reign have to be pretty happy with their defense tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, they became victimized by some of the adjustments on the jet sweeps and things like that, which ultimately led to that touchdown. But they have some players that can hit on the defensive side, so a solid-looking group. They need to clean some stuff up on the offensive end and Should be a fun year.
And boy, Casey Cornist, she's worth the price of admission. I like the way she plays defense. The fact that, and we talked about this a few different times in that second half, when a play happens in the open field, not only does she make the tackle and is she, just Johnny on the spot, but she comes at you with authority. She slams you down pretty hard.
Yeah, and she needs a nickname. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is, but she knows how to tackle. She's a football player. And
just a few other things to take away from this game. You mentioned Amelia Carr, a really good-looking receiver there. Regina Buckmiller, only a rookie, but number 91. We were calling her name a little bit in the second half. The offensive line was getting some push at times. Again, this is a Reign team that, you're 0-1, but there's a lot of football left to be played, and I've got to think if folks are able to get out to Everett Memorial this year and to catch a game or two, and certainly we hope they keep watching on STSPN, you're going to be entertained and you're going to see I think this is an improved football team from what I saw last year.
Well, I had a lot of fun. I mean, and the other thing is that, with football, everybody's jonesing for football right now. I mean, there's, you got the draft coming up, but okay, great, you got the draft, but to get out and watch, and especially to have the ladies out there, it's cool to see, and you're seeing some decent football. It's not a gimmick by any means. These ladies can play, and Coach Billy Russo, who is out talking to his team right now, he's doing an outstanding job, as well as the rest of the coaches on that sideline. And then we just want to mention it one more time. Next week, Everett Reign, Seattle Majestics coming to Everett Memorial Stadium. Then they will be off for a couple weeks. May 6th, they will play the Portland Shockwave down in Portland. They've got another game coming up with Tacoma here on, it's May 13th. Play the Majestics again in late May, and then they end the regular season with Southern Oregon. So plenty of opportunities for folks to either get out and watch a game or certainly to watch it online. And we thought we might get a player up here, but I know Coach Russo's still talking to his team right now, so I think we'll go ahead and sign off here. But Mike Buckholz, I've been around you off and on for the last couple of years at games, but first time you and I have actually worked together. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it has. And I remember we were doing some basketball at the district tournament at Mount Lake Terrace, and you were kind enough to give us a spot there courtside. It was kind of up to you to decide if we could do the broadcast at that point, because I think you had the game after, so you were gracious enough to let us have that spot, and I remember that. Appreciate that.
Hey, so happy to help. And now I put you on the 50-yard line, right, so to speak. Well, actually, I think Todd Elvick had more to do with that, but yeah, great viewpoint here. And Todd Elvick, by the way, who runs STSPN and is not only the producer, the engineer, the cameraman,
the pizza buyer.
Yeah, the pizza buyer. Yeah, he's also driving us home afterwards here. So Todd did a great job tonight. I know, again, some technical difficulties in the first half. However, when you go back to watch this game, the entire game will be up online, and you can access that from stspn.com. So Todd Elvick, thank you. Great job tonight. And at that point, I think we will sign off. So once again, the final score tonight, the Tacoma Trauma defeat the Everett Reign 6-0. For Mike Buckholz, I'm Steve Willits. You've been watching STSPN.com. Have a great night.